Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle Earth here with a video talking about initiative and why I think it's one of the most important stats in Rise to War in 2.0. Now, I am a player who did not focus heavily on initiative when 2.0 came out and we got to shuffle our gear around. I did not really focus on initiative at all, and I heavily regret it. So I'm speaking from experience and trying to help others avoid these mistakes or at least kind of start correcting them, which is kind of the course that I'm on currently. So I want to share my thoughts on this. I also think it's worth noting that this applies to you, whoever you are in the game. If you are a new player, if you're free to play, you don't have Sauron, you've been playing 2 years, you're a Kraken, it doesn't really matter because initiative and the turn order of commanders and their skills can apply to everyone. So understanding it at any level is important. You want to make sure that it doesn't come back to bite you. So stay tuned in just a second. We're going to go through all of this stuff so you can hopefully get your account in working order. Okay, so starting out, if you're a new player or maybe just haven't looked at it before, I want to explain very, very quickly what initiative is and why it's a big deal and worth looking at in terms of what gear you have on your commander. So initiative, if you did not know, right here, it says affects the order in which formations take action in battle. And now, generally speaking, if you have a faster formation or a faster army, so all your formations, you're going to have more success in a battle. Now, it's going to come down to gear and respect and all that stuff. But if you are fighting a mirror match, an exact equivalent army of yours in respect and gear and troops and all that stuff, but one side has more initiative for whatever reason, even if it's just hypothetical, that side is going to do better because they're getting all their damage out first, they're taking troops out, and again, at the end of the day, it's just going to snowball from there and they're going to win the battle. Again, generally speaking, that's kind of how initiative works. So if you're going first, you're going to have more success. Now, the reason that's a really, really big deal is because of this skill right here, which is the Deceiver on Sauron. It's his top R1 skill. He is going to try and inflict madness on 3 enemy commanders, and this happens in the pre-battle phase. So if Sauron's very, very fast, this goes off, and if he inflicts madness on anybody, then all of that pre-battle stuff that your commander is trying to do can be inflicted with madness, which is not good. I want to show you a visual of what this exactly looks like because I had it happen in the battle, and I'll show you kind of visually what it looks like so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a report I had. And honestly, it didn't go too bad, but I do think madness played a part, or at least you can see how it could play a part here. So if you go down your reports, it's the first blue button. It's just behind me right here. It's the first blue button on the left side, a little scroll. It opens up details. Now you can click through all the different rounds over here on the left side, but we just want to scroll down until we get to pre-battle phase. We have preparations begin and then pre-battle phase. So right here, you can see, and it's red, so this is the enemy here. It says Sauron, formation 2 activates the Deceiver. So his Sauron was faster than mine or faster than any of my commanders. So he got to inflict Deceiver before anything else happens in the battle. So again, it says here he activates Deceiver. I'm going to receive extra damage on all my commanders. Sistaro got affected by madness. Eagles got affected by madness. Dane and Sauron did not. And it looks like I think that's it because it just affects 3. So I really just had one commander, but you can see how it could be multiple troops, multiple commanders that get inflicted. But in this case, it was just Sistaro that got affected. Now, to give you guys a visual of how this looks like, I want to show you in kind of the battle replay thing how it looks. Right here, you can see it flashes up on the screen. It's going to show Deceiver. So Deceiver just popped there, then the enemy. So everything that pops after this, again, everything that's green, that's mine, would have a chance to be inflicted by Deceiver. So this kind of like pre-battle thing in this like animation menu kind of shows you how many things trigger and go off before the battle actually starts. So again, just to kind of catch it again, we can see his Deceiver going off in just a second here. His enemy. So again, let's hypothetically, I got affected by madness on everyone. Now everything that pops up green on my side has a chance to be inflicted. So my Deceiver, my enemy, my White Council, my White Rider, and depending on, well, there's my Ringwraith too. Depending on the formation and what commanders you're using, it could be a lot more that's affected or it could be a lot less. But hopefully that makes sense visually, showing that if your Sauron goes first, or if an enemy Sauron goes first, there's the most potential for things to be caught by that, which is a big, big issue. Now, it's worth noting, I've sort of said it a few times, but just to be very clear, this will come down to RNG. So you might have better luck, or it might just, it might work out better for you. This here is a 35% chance. This will happen 3 times. So it goes up to 3 commanders, and all 3 of those commanders have a 35% chance, and your troops do, but all 3 of those commanders have a 35% chance to be inflicted with madness. So if you kind of go by the average, that means every single battle, 1 commander will be inflicted with madness. Worst case, all 3 of them are, and then best case, none of them are. But the average, since it's about 1/3, and there's 3 commanders, means that 1 of those are going to be inflicted with madness. Now, the way madness works is it's also a coin flip chance. It's a 50% chance to actually resist the madness or have it go through. So my Sistaro, for example, was maddened in that battle. He hit this 35% chance, which is not good. and then he would have had a 50-50 chance on whether or not his actions would be affected by madness or if he would have resisted. So if you do the math, it gets down. I think people are saying it's technically around like that 17.5% chance or whatever it is, but it's happening on 3 commanders. So it's not just happening one time. There's a 17% chance. It's happening 3 times. And in my opinion, I just feel like I see it a lot more than I don't. And it seems to be the reason that either I'm being punched up on by people I should be beating, or really weak armies are doing a lot better on me, or when I attack someone who is more geared than me, I just get destroyed because my Sauron's not competing on the same level that other ones are. So again, it is RNG based, so I don't want to say all this and have you think, oh my gosh, if I get initiative, I'm going to win every battle. It does come down to some RNG, so do that at your own risk. But I am running a unit defense, evasive action, high command Sauron, and I'm running Great Beast. Like, I think I have a kind of the best setup for that in terms of what would make this successful. And I'm just not seeing as much success as others are seeing with quicker Saurons. It's also worth noting that commanders like Gandalf the White, who have skills like White Council and White Rider, can also use a lot of initiative. So if you don't want to roll the dice on Sauron, since this is sort of a gamble, you could also just put high initiative on your Gandalf the White so that he always goes first, and White Council and White Rider never get inflicted with madness. So that kind of saves those really big ones. That'd be a kind of safe investment. But in my opinion, if you're a little bit lower geared, a little bit less whaled, I think the chance to inflict madness with your Sauron can sort of even the playing field sometimes. Now, again, it's very RNG based, but right now for me, it's just coming down to who has more kind of whaley gear, and I'm losing more battles. So I wish I had some more madness. So just every couple of battles, maybe I had a better report. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. But again, lots of commanders have things that go off in the pre-battle phase that they can benefit from initiative. I think Sauron is one of the most important. And I think Gandalf the White, or Gandalf the Grey, if you're using Gandalf the Grey with White Council, is also one of the most important. Okay, so we've talked about what initiative is, why it's important, if it's worth using, which I think is up to the individual player. If you want to gamble, or if you have something that's working, obviously stick with it. But if you're like me and you're just like, man, I just don't feel like I'm having that much success for the size of my account, because again, I'm someone who runs a full army with pretty much fully strengthened gold, between 3 or 4 refinement, the fully refined piece here and there. So I by no means have a pushover account, but I feel like I'm having a hard time. So if you're kind of in that same boat where it's like, man, things aren't adding up for me, this could be something to try if you've got some hammers and want to shuffle things around, or have some gear laying around, whatever it is. So we've talked about kind of the reason why or whatever. These are all the gear pieces that have initiative in the game. Now, I will link this in the description below, but you can go through and see it's the Morgul Blade, the Sandclaw, Reach of the Riddermark, Obsidian Dagger, so on and so forth. And you can see what their max initiative is. You can also look at your gear and see what the initiative is, or if you want to go to the chest really quickly and pull up a Matham chest, if you go here and click on pieces of gear, it'll show the base stats, and these numbers triple. So if it says 2 for initiative, at max strengthen, that's going to be 6 on the Sandclaw. If it says 2 on the Reach, it's going to be 6. So you could go through and look here if you want to see, but I went ahead and already did that and put it all in the spreadsheet. This does include, there's only one purple piece, which is the Scout's Mail, which has initiative, but basically, again, there's not a huge list. So you have these options to choose from in terms of what you can put on your commanders to get them initiative. Now, it's also worth saying that if you have gear that says classic on it in parentheses from 1.0, you may have hit the jackpot, because there are some 1.0 pieces that can get you a lot of initiative, even on purple pieces. Something like a Scout's Mail with Deafness, I think it has 18 initiative in here in the effect slot. So you can't run a full set, but an agility set gets you 10 initiative, and this one piece gives you 18. So it's a purple piece. So if you played 1.0, if you saved your gear, you might have some 1.0 gear that can get you a lot of initiative and work out very nicely for you. Now, I just briefly mentioned it, but there is an agility set, and it gives you 10 initiative. So this can get you some more as well. It won't show up here in your total until you get into battle, but if you put 4 pieces on with the agility set, you will get that 10 extra initiative from the set. So again, if you're not running 1.0 gear, the best case is that you run these pieces of gear that have the most initiative, so the ones that have 6, and you have an agility set. But honestly, if you get 3 with the set, it's good. And if you have none of these things, it's still sometimes worth running a set with just purple gear. And I've seen people do that and have success and really enjoy it. So using the set even with purple or blue gear can be an option if you don't have specific pieces with initiative. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about is the troops you use, because the troops you use do modify your commander's initiative. That's why you see a lot of people running Eagles on their full formations. Not only do they have high HP, but Eagles or Fell Beasts have high initiative. So these Eagles have 20 initiative, Fell Beasts have 19, I believe. So if you run faster troops, that can get your commanders going a lot faster. So if you run Eagles but are slightly slower, and they're running like Guards the Tower, for example, there's a good chance that your Sauron is going to go before theirs or before all their troops. However, if they're running cavalry or things that do help, it may not make as much of a difference, but it does get modified by the troops that you're using. So keep that in mind. A lot of people even just run, even if you're not running full Eagles, a lot of people will just put Eagles or Felbeast on just their Sauron or just their Gandalf the White to bring their speed up just a little bit or their initiative up just a little bit, so they're not inflicted or they can inflict more madness. So if you have access to them, even to the employment hall just daily, a little bit on those commanders can go a long way. And that will do it for today's video. I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know down in the comments below where you fall on the initiative scale. If you use it, if you don't use it, love it, do you hate it? I'm on the side that thinks it's a little bit more impactful and I don't have it. Although I've heard lots of people talk about how they don't use it or it's not that big of a deal. It's very kind of RNG dependent. So I think there's an argument on both sides, but I want to hear what you guys think about it. And if you are spending in Rise to War currently, I have a top-up link down in the description below. If you use that top-up link, it supports the channel at no extra cost to you. It actually is a little bit cheaper in certain countries of the world. So check that out if you're spending. And that'll do it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next video.